Hello students. So through this video we will complete the last chapter of Indian economic development, that is development experiences in India, Pakistan and China. So students, what we see here is that all these three neighboring countries, they started their journey all together. While India and Pakistan, they became independent in 1947, China also started its journey in 1949 with People's Republic of China Party. So, all the three countries for their development, they adopted a similar strategy of 5-year plan. While India introduced its 5-year plan in 1951, Pakistan in 1956, China announced its first 5-year plan in 1953. As well as we see that India and Pakistan, they created a large public sector to collect the funds. Okay, so their main development, we can see that it was dependent on the public sector after the independence. Till the 1980s, we see that the growth rate of all the three countries was almost similar and they were growing at a good rate. When we talk about the economic reforms, so we know that in India economic reform of LPG policy took place in 1991, in China it was in 1978 and economic reform in Pakistan was in 1988. Now students, let us deal with the development strategies followed in China. So after the establishment of their party, they what they did was that all the resources that China had, that they took under the control of government so that they can be used wisely. Okay. For the development of economy, they also followed many strategies. One of them was Great Leap Forward. So this campaign was started in 1958 and it was the campaign which was mainly focused for developing the industrial sector of the country. Okay, and all the people, they were encouraged in smaller areas also that they can do small cottage industry work in their house itself. Okay, so Great Leap Forward, it was related to industrial sector. After Great Leap Forward, another strategy that we see was Great Proletarian Cultural Revolution. So it was started in 1965 by Mao Zedong, and in this revolution, China, what it did was that they sent their students and professionals to rural areas where they can also learn all the activities and understand what are the actual problems faced in the rural areas. So we see that along with the theoretical knowledge, they focused on the practical knowledge where the students could practice all the things. Okay, so this revolution came to be known as Great Proletarian Cultural Revolution. See students, we know that China started its reforms in 1978. So unlike India and Pakistan, China did its reform process in a very systematic and phase-wise manner. Earlier, it focused in its agricultural sector, its foreign trade, and once all the agricultural sector was improved, what they did was they divided the land into small plots and they allocated this to the households so that they can do the work of agriculture. Once their agriculture sector enhanced, then they focused on their production sector, that is industrial sector. Also to attract the foreign investors, they also created the special economic zones. So that was all that we see in China. Now let us see the development strategies of Pakistan. So for Pakistan, we see that it is almost similar to India. Firstly, they adopted the mixed economy system, same as India. Then the policy of import substitution, in which the local producers, local market was provided more protection, and such tariff policies were made so that the people would buy more of the local products, and that could be manufactured locally. And we see that after independence, Pakistan also received financial support from the Western countries, and that's why we will see that its growth during the 1980s and 90s was almost very good. See students, here we will compare the gross domestic product of all the three countries. So here we see that China is leading very much as compared to India and Pakistan, because we see that here China has the second largest GDP in the whole world. Okay, so we are there nowhere in comparison to China. Also, the annual growth rate, as per the table that we can see, India's growth rate was 5.7 in 1980-90, while Pakistan's was 6.3. So what we conclude is that during the year of 1980s, Pakistan's annual growth rate of GDP was better than us. But when we move to the year of 2000 to 2010, then we see that here India took over the GDP growth of Pakistan, but China's growth remained at the top only. Some demographic indicators we will see. So demographic indicators are those which are related to the population. Okay, so here population, we know that India and China have a very large population, while Pakistan's population is quite less. But when we see the annual growth, okay, so India's annual growth of population is very much as compared to China. Pakistan, it doesn't matter much because their population is very less. In density also we see that India is not in a very good condition. So density here means that people living in per square kilometer. And we see that in India there is very large population living in per square kilometer. So density is high, which does not show a very good living standard. Okay, other than that, fertility, urbanization, this all you can see. Most of the pattern it shows that China is in a very good position, and then India, and then Pakistan. Also, we see that China has controlled its growth of population. So one of the policies introduced by China in 1970s was one child policy, in which they were allowed to have only one child. Okay, but this affected its sex ratio also. And what we see that there the population proportion of young and old people was also very much disturbed. So students, this was all about the development experience of India, Pakistan and China. Thank you.